Hi, my name is Brian Burgans.
I'm Rick Betancourt.
I'm Lindsay Litton.
And welcome to this episode of Homeownership Heroes. And today we are going to talk about the relationship between the mortgage broker, the realtor, and the lender.
So what you got in front of you is you got a phenomenal VA lender, you got an incredible realtor, and you got a mortgage originator that pretty much all we do is work with our veterans and our military in our respective communities. So what I wanted to kind of dive into first is I want Lindsay to kind of give us a real quick synopsis. When that veteran comes to you and says, hey, I just PCS'd into this particular location, that's permanent change of station, they just transferred in, what do? Take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to have some key questions. We really want to understand, what is that military family looking for when they're buying a home, right? Are they going to be at that home for 3 to 5 years? Are they going to be okay with being an absentee landlord? Because a lot of our military families are going to get orders they might not even expected, and you might have to rent your home. So these are some of the key questions that, as a realtor, that we're going to ask. Then our next question is, let's talk about how much you want to spend. And I always want to approach it from, how much do you want your monthly budget to be?
Now that's important, right? So I call it my working backwards feature, right? So I think there's a lot of loan officers out there that just like, let's get this person into a house for as big as possible. And I think that is, if you do that, you're wrong. So there's a different way of doing it. It's just like that, right? It's like, so what do you want to spend? My payment is going to be $1,800 a month, right? Mm-hmm. And they know they have this BAH and they know they have some other features inside their LES statement as far as income. And then I say, okay, what towns you want to be in? Because that's important for property taxes, right? So property taxes are part of the payment. When you figure those two out, a lot of times what they're qualified for isn't exactly what they want to spend.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's, then what happens is, Lindsay and I are working together figuring this out. We do the pre-qual. And then we got to go to a Brian Burgans with Caliber Home Loans, and then this is where the money comes from. So Tell me kind of what you guys looking at.
Well, see, and then there's this downstream thing too that you guys, I think we missed here, is the fact that if you do overqualify them for it and they travel to this marketplace and they use all their entitlement and they get PCS to another market, what are they going to use to buy another house?
They got no PC, they got no more
entitlement.
entitlement.
Nothing, right? So they're landlords of a house that basically just leveled out all their entitlement. And now they're going to another market. Now they got to rent. They're renting while they're landlords at a property that is probably 700 miles away.
No, this is good. This is a great episode that's going to work with, like, so in my area in Boston, not a lot of active duty, but you're in Colorado Springs, right?
Yep.
So tons of active duty. So it's important, if you're a mortgage originator or you're a real estate agent, to kind of understand the different demographics that you're working with in your particular marketplace. Now, when I'm done with the pre-qual and Lindsay's figured out where we're looking for houses, then we have to bring in a great lending partner. So, that is the key piece, because where else is the money going to come from, right? The money's coming from Brian.
Yep. And, a couple of things we always check is certificate of eligibility, making sure that the ability to repay, we're doing all the checks and balances, right? So we need to make sure that the property meets the requirements, because one of the biggest things we see a lot too are people are showing houses that have no business being shown to a vet.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not going to meet the MPRs.
Let's ask Lindsay, how do you, since you do a lot of VA work with a lot of veterans, so that is obviously, you're a great advocate for the real estate community about the MPRs. If you could share something with your peers, how do you kind of approach the MPR, minimum property requirements, so that the property conditions with your agents, with
Well, first of all, there's a tool called MLS, and in MLS, you can check off which loans that you're looking for. So there's some properties, if you're working with smart listing agents, they know that property will not qualify for the VA loan. They're not going to list VA as one of the accepting terms. So as a real estate professional, that's like a very easy thing that you can do to ensure that the properties that you're sending your client, properties that they're going to fall in love with in their email, are meeting VA requirements. Then you can go one beyond that. Go tour the properties yourself. So if you do a lot of VA, chances are that you know some of the major things that the VA appraisers are looking for. You can't have limbs touching the property. You're going to want to look for major foundational issues, things of this sort. And as an agent, if you do those pre-screening things, then you can make use of your buyer's time, be very effective.
Yeah, and I think in New England, where we have some of the oldest homes in America, we run into a lot of peeling paint issues. Peeling paint. I think well water is another area where there's a little bit of confusion in the VA, and the regs have changed on VA water quality requirements as well. But when it comes to as a veteran working with a real estate agent and a mortgage professional, you really owe it to yourself. This is the largest financial purchase of your life, right? And don't just go online, pick a lender, and be done with it. You need to do, or pick an agent and just be done with it, right? Because there's a lot of inexperienced people. I mean, we're lucky. We have a company like Caliber who supports us. We have great real estate agents and mortgage professionals that are educated. But listen, man, if you're a veteran, you got to do your due diligence. You got to interview all three of us, really. You got to, I mean, I like it. Put the light on my head, shine down, sit me on a seat, and it makes me real happy because now I get to get grilled and want to help the veterans.
Absolutely. Do your checklist, interview realtors. I always tell people, don't go with the first person that you meet. Don't go with the first lender that you meet. Interview, compare, and make sure that whoever you're working with is going to suit your family's needs.
Well, because, you know, you got a couple of things working here, right? Especially on active duty where you got people PCSing in. They're coming in on house hunting leave. They got a short window of opportunity, right? So I would assume if I was PCSing in knowing that the market is kind of stacked against me, right? Because I'm coming in on short term, I got to make a purchase decision before I leave. And right now, the environment isn't very well suited for a military person to buy using my VA home loan benefit. I need a strong team that's going to go fight for me so I can get the house I want.
And that's important. So like a strong team is a Lindsay and a Rick, where we know that this veteran's doing 100% financing. The earnest money deposit is small, but Lindsay, being a military spouse, understands the VA, working with a veteran. I understand the VA home loan. We were able to create an offer, even with a smaller EMD, that can make that, you know, put that offer in front of that seller and hopefully win the deal.
Yeah, because you got to be able to, like, a Lindsay will reach out to the listing agent, right, and start having conversations with them, because I'm sure you deal with this kind of stuff already, right?
Oh, absolutely. In a big market like San Antonio, where there's a lot of VA buyers, there's also a lot of inventory in terms of multiple offer situations. Reaching out to the listing agent, having your loan originator also reach out.
Always do.
Yes, to the listing agent to give them the warm and fuzzy will help ensure that your buyer gets into that home.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times we have the poor listing agent may not be as experienced as we are, and they have no idea. And once you take a few minutes, just a 5-minute phone call to educate them on kind of bring them up to speed on what it is and how our team works, then you're in great shape.
So I think what we've said here today is that you got to have synergy between your partners. Everybody's got to have the same sense of purpose, because the end result is making sure our active duty military members and our veterans get put into the house that they want.
Amen.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for tuning in today. We hope you got a lot of value out of what we brought to you today. I'm Brian Burgans.
I'm Rick Betancourt.
I'm Lindsay Litton.
And tune in next time.
This is Mortgage News Network.